More Destiny 2
Destiny.
content is what I know him for. But in this tweet, he says a source with knowledge, which is a good place to start. A source with knowledge. A source without knowledge wouldn't be a good place to start.
That's where I start.
He said, of the situation, he has told me that Black Myth Wukong is not currently on Xbox because of any exclusivity deal. And it is not delayed because of any sort of technical issue. So it's because of an exclusivity deal that he is stating. He said PlayStation blocked Xbox from having the Black Myth
Oh, that's
Wukong.
quite possible.
We've heard
Does he
this go
elaborate on
back.
that further? Or does
We've
he just say it as simple as that? He's heard that it was an exclusivity issue. Is that as baseline as he
so
leaves it?
So he follows up with another tweet, sort of excerpts of what each of the companies said. So this is from Game Science, where he says, we are currently optimizing the Xbox Series XS version to meet our quality standards, Game Science said, so it won't release simultaneously with any other platform. We apologize for the delay and aim to minimize the wait for Xbox users. We'll announce a release date as soon as it meets quality standards. So to me, that sounds like Game Science specifically set it in stone there. Like, why would you ever doubt them? And then he says from Xbox part saying, we're excited for the launch of Black Myth Wukong on Xbox. We are working with Game Science to bring the game to our platforms. We cannot comment on the deals made by our partners and other platform holders, but we remain focused on making Xbox the best platform for gamers and a great place to play. So, I mean, it's very confusing. Nobody's saying exactly anything, but I feel like, and you can, maybe the panel can say, but I would trust what Game Science says, the actual
Yeah,
developer of the game.
they're giving us objective. They're telling us this is how it is. But I mean, things can be different behind the scenes, right? We know that that's how it is. But at the same time,
They're also
like,
not telling us everything. They are being ambiguous in the response. Like they're not saying so they don't have an exclusivity deal, but they're also saying like we are going to release it on Xbox. We just aren't done with that yet, and it could be that the exclusivity deal is you wait with developing the like optimizing their version until ours is released, and then you can do work on that.
that's the point,
Just
Bjorn.
like
I mean,
just saying.
Rue, you've played it on PlayStation. It's not greatly optimized yet. Maybe there is a
Yeah.
deal where Xbox is still working on optimization, but they've got to wait 3 months or 6 months or however long because of deals with partners. They do
Or
comment
it was
on.
or it was like they can start after release. Like when it's released on PlayStation, they can start optimizing. Like I'm just
Mhm.
it's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy, of course, but like
Yeah,
just
this is
throwing it
all
out there.
just
It's
rumors
a
at the end of the
possibility.
day. But
Yeah, I think it has
This
to do with like Xbox not able to like play the game. Because look at Rue with his PlayStation 5 and it's like struggling. Xbox,
Mhm.
I don't think is as powerful, so they might have to reduce the
But even if a
settings a
Series
lot
X
more.
can compare, the Series S can't, and they don't make Series S versions slash. I mean they don't make a Series S version and a Series X version separately. The
Hmm.
Xbox new version always has to be Series X slash S version. It has to be
Um,
compatible with them both. So
yeah.
the lowest grading for Xbox isn't the Series X, which is like the competitor to the Series 5. It's the Series S, which is a lot more budget, which is a lot less powerful. So yeah,
Basically,
it could be, but
the company's statement is so ambiguous. You could take either direction. Oh, they're having trouble making it on the Series S, or they have an
Mm,
exclusivity deal that they're leaving out. Like both, like it
I mean, we
doesn't
know
put
Sony loves
either
an
one to bed.
exclusivity
Do you
deal,
know what I
so
mean?
it's a
Yeah, I
possibility.
like I like
yeah.
I like chill gaming. What's up, chill gaming? But I like his comment. He says, but the problem is you don't even need an Xbox console to play Xbox games.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
play it on
Anymore.
PC. Play it on PC.
Yeah. GeForce now.
so I was playing Black Myth Wukong the other day for maybe an hour or two session. My wife walks by the PlayStation and she's like, "Oh my gosh, it's a heat wave coming out of your thing." My expectation, I guess, is the Series S can't handle that much heat,
Was
or
it was
there
this
must be
Yeah.
after
much.
you was this after you blew out the fans? I know you got a little like 10% more performance. I know you did.
UK, you underestimate how dusty that PlayStation was. Come on.
The thing is, though, right, to be technical about this, and anyone else on the panel who's got more computer expertise could get more into it. But heat displacement isn't necessarily a bad thing. SPG's like massively powerful gaming rig probably gets a lot hotter than your PlayStation because it's got the power to do that. The heat that
I
it
heard it because
displaces
it's so
is a
massive.
good thing. That's heat it's moving away from its systems. That's a good cooling system at the end of the day. The Series S might get too hot, maybe, but it also just might not have enough raw power to push the stuff that they've got in that game. It just might not have enough raw power, simply put. Yeah.
And it
That's
is
what I have to
weird
say on that.
because my PS5 doesn't get hot like my Xbox Series X. That thing gets hot, and my the little S, it's like it gets a little warm too. So
But an interesting thing about heat when it comes to consoles and PCs, it's so you can feel heat radiating away from the fans, and you might notice the heat a lot more from fan heat. But if you put your hand next to the console, you might feel heat instead on the console. And feeling fan heat is a lot more noticeable, but it's better to be able to feel that fan heat coming out into the room than feeling heat when you put your hand to the device, because
Well,
that's heat being trapped inside.
Yeah, listen. Trapped heat makes CPU throttling and GPU throttling take place, and when that takes place, you drop frames, you drop whole segments, and through the
But my point
pipeline.
is, if you notice heat coming off your Xbox or your console, that isn't necessarily meaning it's getting hotter than something that you're not noticing heat from. If you're noticing heat come off it, that's meaning it's displacing the heat well. It's getting rid of the heat really well.
What I'm getting at is no matter how hot that bitch gets, it's going to dispel the heat and take care of itself. Now, if you get random power offs, you're screwed. Your thermal paste is bad, or you have something else going on with the console.
God, not my
But it is
thermal
meant,
Yeah.
it is within threshold for it to get to a certain temp and then dump all that heat out. That is not a sign of anything negative. It's actually, it's a positive.
Because the an optimized PC, or like you can say a console, because they optimize it to have the best airflow, the best cooling system. Like a CPU can run up to 75 degrees Celsius, which is 167 Fahrenheit, before it's shut down. Before the system decide it's enough, I'm shutting down. So to reach to that
Like
point,
a lot of
yes,
these
you're gonna
systems
find
can
some
in theory run even hotter.
degradation. Was that?
A lot of these systems could, in theory, even run even hotter than that. Of
Yeah,
course, like the hotter
and
they
that's the
run,
thing.
the more damage they take over time. But like, if you want to have a CPU that
Yeah,
runs at 80 degrees and you have good enough cooling and you don't like it spikes at 80 degrees a couple of times a day, then I mean, sure, it's not great for
yeah,
longevity, but it's
That
not
is
gonna break.
spicy, Miss Phoenix.
yeah.
That is spicy.
Did you say
hey,
pricey or spicy?
I know
Spicy.
I know
God.
I
My goodness,
went through
that's funny, PH. That's
I
funny.
went through 5
Ugh.
Xbox 360s, man. I went through 5 of
Oh
them,
yeah,
and I know that was
that
heat.
ring.
That was the
Yeah,
heat.
Yeah,
because it
like
wasn't
I
optimized
realized
properly.
yesterday my work laptop idles at 67 degrees on the GPU. That's not great.
But yeah, we went on a massive tangent about heat, but I just meant to say that heat displacement, noticing heat from your device, isn't necessarily a bad thing, because if you're feeling heat come off it, that means it's not staying in your device. But yeah,
It's all about
Yeah,
the
exactly. It's a
angle of
good
the
thing.
dangle or the heat of the meat. Come on.
Oh my god. Okay. All right.
Hey, that's what
What
it's
were we
actually
actually talking about, Rue? Come
We
on, get us on a track.
you know what's funny is we're now talking about heat, but where we started was Black Myth Wukong being accused of being blocked by PlayStation, not coming to Xbox. So it's a funny place to end
I'm
up.
already lost at where this
Mhm,
conversation's
mhm.
going. So
Especially after reading Miss Phoenix's comment, I'm like, where do words come from?
what are words?
Oh,
She
webs and
said.
strings and roundabouts
All just
and all
hot
these
mess.
things.
But let's move on to the next one. If you want to play Black Myth Wukong, obviously GeForce Now is the most
Yes.
recommended place for myself. It's the cost affordable way to play. Check it out in the clouds. Just make sure you have good internet, good connection. But let's move
What
on.
about
Yeah, you can also go
Starlink?
play it on. It's not out on Boosteroid Ultra as well.
I don't
Right.
have
Oh, there we
Ultra. I'm in
go.
America.
But don't accept dodgy copies from Portugal because you might get
Yes.
your Steam banned.
Yes, but
What are you
Boosteroid
talking about?
didn't.
That's where I get all. That's where I
Boosteroid
get all
didn't
my
buy
copies.
commercials on the download, Bjorn. We talked about this. I'm joking. I'm joking. Boosteroid is another great option if you're looking for cloud gaming. They also have access to a lot of games that GeForce Now can't have for some reasons. Wink, wink. But Boosteroid gets around it. Like games like Helldivers would be one that comes to mind for a Boosteroid one. But let's get
What do you mean gets
into.
around it?
I
No,
don't
just kidding.
know.
Go ahead. Go ahead.